Welcome to the Smiles Are Wild channel, brought to you by Pediatric Dental Associates in Orthodontics. My name is Amy Morgan. We will be bringing you fun and educational videos weekly to help you take better care of your child's oral health care needs at home and on the go. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to see all of our new videos. And remember, it doesn't really matter how you take care of your teeth as long as you take care of them from the beginning. All right. Good morning, everyone. I am Amy Morgan. I am the marketing coordinator here for Pediatric Dental Associates in Orthodontics. We are so glad you have joined us today. If you are going back and watching this video after we are live, please type in #replay. We also want to make sure that you are following us on Facebook and Instagram. All you have to do is search Smiles Are Wild. As you can see, I do have someone today in our screen, but I will get him introduced here in just a moment when we get ready with our content. We just want to make sure that everybody can hear us. So as you join, let us know that you can hear us and we will get started with that. I am going to go ahead and talk a little bit about one of the things that we've been having a lot of questions about with phone calls, emails, and direct messages is our pool party that is coming up this Thursday night. It's going to be at the Rogers Aquatic Center. You do have to have tickets for that, so make sure that you have reserved your tickets already. I know we've already released a certain allotment of tickets. We are going to be releasing more tickets today. So I will put a warning up on our Facebook page letting you know that within the hour, I'm going to release those tickets again. I just have to get my exact numbers one more time before I can release the right amount because we are restricted to a certain amount. So again, I will put a warning up on Facebook probably about an hour ahead of time, just so you will know when to be on to look for those tickets. I may even do it a little bit later in the evening just so maybe our 8 to 5 working parents will be able to get on and reserve those at the same time. Looks like everybody's on and everything seems to be okay. So we're going to go ahead and get started today. So good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Amy Morgan. I'm the marketing coordinator here for Pediatric Dental Associates in Orthodontics. We are very honored today to have Mr. Derek Ratchford with us today. He is a teacher at Sonora Middle School, and he is going to help us talk a little bit about 5 ways that you can partner, that you and your child can partner with your teacher. So, Derek, say hello.
Good morning, everybody.
Yeah, good
Thanks
morning.
for having me.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so one way we're connected with Derek is that he runs the EAST program. Is that the correct name? At Sonora Middle School. He's doing some amazing things with that program. And if I'm correct, it's more of a STEM type program for middle schoolers. Go ahead and tell us about that.
EAST is a community service, student-led classroom where they get out in the community and they use advanced technology to solve problems in their community. And they do some pretty incredible things for their community they live in and that they're a part of every day.
Okay, and one of the things that I really liked about this program is we just sponsored and we're at the Dream Big Gala, and they are actually trying to come up with a way to do some kind of augmented reality where you can scan the handprints at the Children's Safety Center.
Yeah, so we actually have some going right now. But basically what our kids have been doing is they wanted to get back to the kids and to be able to tell stories through the Children's Safety Center. So they went in and created augmented reality where when you scan with your phone or an iPad, the handprint on the wall, it comes to life and tells the story of that child or child in need for our community.
That's awesome. That's all. And that was so fun to see the girls up there talking at the gala. They did such a good job.
Thank you.
And what grade are they in?
They'll be in 6th grade.
Yeah, they were going into 6th grade and they got them in front of like 1,000 people and totally talked about their program. So it was totally awesome. They did a good job. So just to kind of get started, I do just want to reiterate here, we understand that at the elementary level that a lot of times it's very simple for you to understand how to plug into your child's classroom. There's the parent-teacher organizations. There's all the things, you get all the notes sent home at that age of what's going on, what fundraisers are happening. When the class parties are, and we're really good about taking care of our elementary teachers, and we're really good about having that participation. I do know some elementary teachers that wish more parents would come to parent-teacher conferences, but, so that's one of the things that he's going to talk about a little bit is just kind of showing up. But at the elementary level, we kind of have more of contact with the school. Notes are coming home. You know what's going on. So Derek teaches in a middle school. So his is more to your older children, your middle school, your high school, but it can be used for any age, especially from the parent perspective. So he's come up with 5 different things that we're going to kind of discuss here. I will try to go back and we'll try to get something laid out in more of a, some kind of guide, like a PDF or something like that. And we'll get that posted as soon as we can. So if you just want to start talking about your first point here, then we will go from there.
Well, let me start by saying middle school and transition to middle school is hard. It's extremely hard for these kids. We're trying to grow independent learners and kids who are being able to take responsibility for their own learning. So whenever they come, it usually takes them about a semester to relearn school in a different way. So they're used to being in normal every classroom every day. Now they're transitioning to moving around classes. So our first tip here is to make sure that you're taking care of their both physical and mental health. You're going to hear a lot about that across the media, everywhere is mental health, and that's a big one for us. But physical is just as important. Make sure they're going to the routine checkups, whether it's at a dentist's office or through their doctor. But mental health starts with routines, in my opinion. Make sure they're getting adequate sleep at night. Make sure that they're not staying up and you don't know about it. Make sure you're active in that, and you create an environment where it's safe and they can talk to you about it. Which leads me to number 2, encourage them to participate in school. Now that they're transitioning into middle school, they have more opportunities to get involved. Back whenever I was in school, it was mostly just sports or band and choir. But we're advancing past that now. Kids have opportunity to do things like East that we're doing, getting out in the community. But they can also do music, choir. Our AAA is now sanctioned esports so they can do video games as a sport now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's awesome.
They jumped on that, didn't they?
Yeah. And now we have like debate teams, and there's so much for these kids to do. It's not just for the athletes. So encourage your kids to get involved. And maybe it's just student council right there within the school, and that's okay too. But make sure they're getting out and being active participants in school.
Yeah. And to that point too, I know in our area, most of the time, middle school, 6th grade. Is that correct? And then when did they go 6th, 7th, 8th grade in middle school?
Our middle school is 6, 7, and then 8, 9 is junior high.
So your participation in these things too, like the number of years you can be involved in these things, also pay off in the end on college scholarships. I know for my daughter, that was a big thing we started pushing. We're in a different school district, actually in a different state. So her high school started at 9th grade, and she was in everything for all 4 years. And that just looks really good on your college applications. Shows it helps you to gain community involvement, because a lot of these programs will do a community event, some type of community service, and that all colleges are looking at that. So I know 6th grade's kind of early to be thinking about that, but at this point it's almost not too early to just start thinking about that. But it also helps them grow in their own confidence as well, which I think is a huge thing. Especially, I really saw my daughter flourish in those programs. So they may already be involved in like a Boy Scouts or a Girl Scouts or something like that, and this is just a step above that. And if they're still involved in Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts at this age, wonderful, because it is a growing program and we need to keep kids in those programs. But there are other things they can step outside that will also coincide with those programs in the Scout program as well.
And leads me into number 2. She talked about a little bit whenever we first started about in elementary, it's easy to get involved. But in middle school, it looks a little bit differently. And it may be just showing up to those events and encouraging them and being a part of their growth just as much as like going to parent-teacher conferences. It's just as important for them to see you in the stands or in the school environment. We as teachers, we can't do it without you. We need your input. We need to know how to better guide your child, and no one knows that better than you. So we encourage you to come by, talk to us, be involved in their learning. And
I agree with that. I agree, to showing up to their choir concerts, showing up to their band concerts. My daughter participated in History Day, National History Day. I went to her thing. Like, we didn't have to. The school was taking her. Like, we didn't have to take her to the event, but we showed up to support her just as we would have when she played basketball as well. She played basketball in the Springdale School District. So we showed up for everything, and we cheered her on, and we were supportive of her. And, the other thing that I think is a big ordeal on at least what I'm seeing as they're growing into these ages is that a lot of their homework turns to an electronic format at some point. So check in, because just because they're not working on paper doesn't mean they're not doing something on their laptop. Make sure that you understand, do you have any homework tonight? Did your teacher send you any assignments? Check in with them as often as you can. I understand that at this age, they don't want to be bothered all the time. We completely understand that. But, you're also their parent, and, you're allowed to ask those questions. So, do what you can do to support them, not just in athletic activities. I think it's a huge thing for sure.
I think that goes back to that mental health thing. I said create an environment where they feel comfortable talking to you, and that starts with you being present and knowing what's going on in their lives. And these are things that they're passionate about, so they're wanting to talk to you about the things that are going on. So just be active and present and know what's going on in their school.
Okay. And number 4 we have on our list is social media. I'm going to let him continue with that. But as far as social media goes, with my family itself, there's a lot of talk back and forth, but, you're the parent. I'm going to let him give some suggestions on what you can do for that.
Social media is a double-edged sword. We are using it right now to give you some great tips. And kids, they're going to want to do that. And so I see lots of kids with cell phones these days, and they're active on Instagram and Facebook and things like that. But be careful which ones you let them do. I personally, I like Snapchat, but I don't like that it can hide their messages from me. I like to be involved with that and make sure that I can see who my child's talking to and what's going on in their life. And I think that kids need to be transparent, and you need to be actively involved in checking what they're doing online.
I fully agree with that. We actually just now, my daughter graduated from high school, and we just now gave her iTunes password. So she could not download any apps. She couldn't do anything on her phone without our permission, and for years. And, it was something we felt very strongly about. When there would be an app that maybe we felt like there was a little bit of an addiction coming on or something like that, we would say, for 3 months, you have no access to that. And we had her passwords. We had all that. Now, sure, they can go in and make their own passwords and stuff like that. But you know how much work it is to get new followers? So, even that is a punishment. So I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But, there are things that you can do. We also make her put all of her tablets, phones, laptops, everything in our bedroom at about 9 o'clock every night. And this was when she was 17 years old. We were not doing this with a 6th grader. We were very serious about making sure that she was, not into all the drama all night, which goes back to their mental health at the same time.
Yeah.
These text messages and these kids sometimes are not very nice on social media. And if they can have just a clear break from that, get a good night's rest, don't think about it, and have that time to kind of regroup overnight while they sleep and things like that, I feel like that's really helpful as well. And then number 5 is probably my favorite.
Yeah.
We want to take care of the kids, but this is, I feel like, the most important thing. So you go ahead.
As they shift into middle school, oftentimes we want to give them that responsibility, or let them have their own responsibility. But continue reading to your kids. Don't just read with them, read to them. Be a model for them. Let them see you read. And it also goes back to that mental health again. It allows you to have that conversation. It lets you get close to your kids. But what we need as teachers is we need to be able to say our kids can go deeper into a book. They can analyze, and they can go, and that comes from you. It comes from being read to, and just talking about reading. And I think that's huge.
Yeah.
And sometimes we forget that as they get older.
Right.
It's more of they already know how to read. Why not need to read with them? But it is vital to their success and their growth as a reader.
Sure. And I think too, like, I saw something very interesting. I was in Washington, D.C. this weekend, and I just overheard a little family. The mom was sitting there, the dad was there, and their 2 teenage kids, and the mom was reading out of a book to them at this park. And it was just it was very good to see, for me, to see that and to see her modeling that behavior. It gave me a reminder of what I need to do as a parent. You can also find, one of the things we've done is we found our favorite series. So we love Harry Potter. And so we'll read a book we've read, the first book, and then we'll watch the first movie. So you can just say, once we're finished with the book, we get to then sit down and watch a movie as a family. And there's all kinds of things you can do. Let the child pick the book they want you to read. Even if you're an electronic reader, like you use a Nook or your iPad or whatever, if you read news articles, even if they're seeing you read a magazine, a newspaper, it doesn't have to be a physical, the most latest, greatest nonfiction, fiction book that's on the top 10 bestseller. They don't have to see all that. They just need to see that you are engaged, that you are continuing to work your brain, even as an adult. And That way they can see it more of a like a recreational type thing versus that I have to do these things.
And selfishly, it lets me hang on to my daughter just a little bit longer.
I like that a lot.
Me. So it gives us time to be together and do things together as a family.
Sure. And one more thing I will add is just little bitty things like, I know they're older, but slip them a note in their lunchbox if they're taking their lunchbox. I think it's Frito-Lay. Like literally makes it so easy. You can write it on the chip package. It's got like a blank white spot on the chip package. So just write them a little note. Let them know in the morning that you're thinking about them. Give them, especially during testing here in our state, it's very, a very stressful time. Go and get them some really sweet pencils and let them know that you care. And then when they're using that pencil, when they're taking that test, they're going to be thinking about you. There are so many things and, we can only cover so many. But look it up on Pinterest, ask your friends what they're doing. I have a friend that always goes out and asks on Facebook and everybody follows the of what to do to help your kid for whatever, but the resources are out there for you. We're happy to answer any questions that you might have. Do you have any other things you want to share? Or you think that's it?
I really like what you just said. Be the highlight of their day. Sometimes that little word of encouragement is the best part of their day. And you want that to be coming from you. So
yeah, sure. Well, we want to thank Derek so much for coming on today. This was awesome. There's a lot of great content. Feel free to ask us any questions in the comments. I will come back and answer those. As usual, you can always email me at amy@smilesarewild.com. And if you need anything from us, you can also direct message us as well. Thank you all for watching today. We really appreciate it, and we hope that you got some value out of this. And if you did, please share all this content with your friends. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe and go visit us on smilesarewild.com.